one thing I noticed is how crime is normalized in British society, especially in places like London. People talk in an almost blasé capacity about knife crime, phone theft. We look to the crime stats and hope that the numbers are going down, that things are getting better. But at the same time, everyone's sort of used to these things happening now. And over the years, over the 20 years that I've been there, definitely, it's gotten worse, perceptively worse. I know the stats will show overall that crime is down compared to, say, the 80s and early 90s, but in certain areas with certain types of crime, it has gotten worse over the last several years. What a lot of people don't realize, especially people who haven't lived abroad, is that if you go to places like, say, Dubai, certain types of crime that we have, they don't even have. Now, another caveat I should put in here is they have very different governmental systems, and people will point out, well, those aren't free countries, right? You don't have freedom of thought. I mean, do we really have freedom of thought today in the UK? I'd argue not really. Certain things are just going to get you in jail. But I get what people are saying, right? It's not apples to apples comparison, which is true. But at the end of the day, safety is paramount. And one of the main roles of a government is to ensure safety. That's why the government funds the police service, right? That's why it funds a judicial system. Well, we fund it as taxpayers, but the point is that the government ensures that these things are functioning. You know, these aren't provided by private companies, these are provided by the government. So if these things aren't able to keep you safe, then it kind of begs the question, what is the point of all the tax money we're paying? You know, what is the purpose of life almost if you're living in a place, and I mean purpose of life in that place, what is the purpose if you're living in a place where you can't even feel safe, where certain crime is just normalized? When you think of places like that, you think of places that, third world, right? Places, much poorer countries where they don't have the resources or they just haven't developed enough where people have enough opportunities. And so crime is just a normal part of life. As in, if you live in that country, something can happen to you. That there's a high chance something will happen to you, something criminal. But that shouldn't really be the case in this country. And I don't think it was the case as much at times past. Yes, crime rate varies up and down over time, but overall, we should always be aiming to minimize crime as time goes forward. And I think to do that, we have to become, first of all, wealthier. Obviously, we need money to pay for all of these things. But we also need to make some smart decisions about how we handle repeat offenders, how we handle petty crime, how we handle illegal immigration, and how we make sure different parts of the country are developed and receiving equal amounts of development funding. There are so many factors that go into it. But one of the most important factors is we cannot allow this to become normalized. We can't allow ourselves to just think, well, this is normal, this level of crime. No, we should be thinking, why is this happening? How can we improve upon this? Because there are places in the world, yes, they're different in how they're run, but there are places where they simply don't have that crime. And you just then don't have to worry about that. A good analogy here is the healthcare system. We have a national health system, which in my opinion, whatever its flaws, is still superior to the American system where, I think I remember reading years ago, 1 in 8 bankruptcies is due to health costs, right? At least I never have to worry about that in the UK. So think about the mental brainwork, the brainwork you have to do as an American when you're thinking about moving to a new place or getting a new job, or if some accident happens, or little worries in your mind, right? If your partner's pregnant, whatever it is, just think about that. You don't have to think about those things as much in the UK. I mean, I know, in recent years, the NHS is under huge pressure, but overall, it's just less stressful compared to what they have over there. Obviously, if you have money over there, then it's not an issue. But then if you have money anywhere in the world, it's not a big deal. So taking that as a sort of an analogy, I think is the same with crime. We shouldn't have to think about phone theft, right? We shouldn't have to think about young kids running around with knives and machetes, killing each other and killing other people, or guns even. We shouldn't really have to think about this. And I hope we can get to a society where these things are no longer normal and they become abnormal for us.